Hi there, I'm Deek Jackson, and welcome to a special edition of the fucking news. I'd like to take you on a trip through the modern world. As you can possibly see behind me, I've just been shopping in a giant hypermarket, whereas I was able to purchase food from all over the world. Apples from South Africa, apples from New Zealand, oranges from Spain, other fruit from South America, plastic shite from China, goods from all over the world flown in here so that I could buy them and the company that owns this shop could make money. Now, this shop is one of 3 supermarkets by this chain in Dunfermline, and Dunfermline is served by another bunch of hypermarket franchises. So many, in fact, that there are now no fruit and vegetable shops left in Dunfermline at all. So if I want to buy fruit or vegetables, I have no choice but to shop in one of these super hypermarket chains. And I should probably come here in a car, since that's how everybody else gets here, and that's what it's designed for. As you can see behind me, nearly everybody who came here to shop came in a car. And conveniently, over here is where people will get the fuel for their cars, and the same place where they will get their shopping. All nice and convenient. Let's have a look at this. How much is fuel currently? Yeah, there we go. That's how much it costs you to reprocess the atmosphere. That's right, every single one of these cars is reprocessing the atmosphere to bring you here to get food that was brought here on airplanes that are reprocessing the atmosphere. And that's our modern way of life. Over there's a range of other stores where you can buy more shite that you don't need. You can gamble, you can book holidays, and you can have a takeaway meal in case you don't feel like cooking the food you bought at this vast hypermarket that put all of the other local shops out of business. So I'm going to cross the road now, and as you can see, it's quite a busy road. Lots of people in their cars. Most of them one person to a car. Many of them, to be honest, don't really need a car except to get to work because they live close enough to this shopping emporium to walk there. And this is the kind of place that people who shop in that kind of place live. Yeah, I'll go this way. These are the houses built for the people who do the jobs that they need the cars for. Now it's Saturday, so most of them are not at work today. So their cars are parked here, sitting there, useless, inert, and immobile. Because after all, what do you need a car for? I mean, we managed 3 million years of evolution without cars. What are cars for? To get you to work. So you can earn the money to buy the food that you don't grow because you're too busy at work. Let me just speed up and get past these people here. This housing estate has just recently been built along with that shop. In fact, this is the largest private housing estate in Europe. Thousands and thousands of houses built so close together you can hear your neighbours shagging at night. But don't let that put you off buying one. They're only £250,000 each, for which you will pay probably 3 times that by the time you pay interest to the bank. However, strangely, the materials inside the materials actually used to build these houses probably cost less than £5,000-10,000. Isn't that odd? That something that's only got £5,000 or £10,000 worth of material in it should cost you £250,000. How is that? Well, that's because of the value that's been placed on land in this economy. Not any land, housing land. Of course, if you wanted to put your horse on an acre, that would only cost you £3,000. But that's another story. Let's take a closer look at these houses, because these houses are very interesting. You'll notice, as I do, not only that the houses are crammed in here, and they all have one or two cars just sitting doing nothing outside, but also these houses have no chimneys. Their gardens are not big enough, barely big enough for a barbecue. They have no chimneys, no solar panels, no windmills. In fact, these houses are giant utility bills. You might as well nail your bills to the front door when you buy these houses, because what you're buying is endless, an endless slavery to utility corporations. You'll need a gas bill for the heating, an electricity bill for the lighting. You probably need a telephone bill for your communications, to keep in touch with work. And you'll have to pay taxes so that your rubbish is taken away, the rubbish that you went to the shops to buy. These houses are not for living in. They're for going to sleep in when you get back from work. And your job isn't doing something useful. Your job is not on a farm making the food that you need to eat. Your job isn't, in Britain anyway, it's no longer in a factory even, probably making the cars or the televisions or the toasters or any of the shit you could have bought in that shop. Your job's probably in the service industry, call centre, management, shop, finance, lending people the money to buy the stuff they don't need so they can take part in consumerism. These houses, in short, are a kind of prison. They're a prison designed to keep you locked into the economy that's been designed for us by a few people. In fact, a handful of people. The few people who designed the economy we live in are Edison, Ford, and Rockefeller, about 100 years ago. Now, Rockefeller made his money by putting everybody else who sold lamp oil out of business, just in time to find Henry Ford had invented something called a motor car, which would use even more of his refined petroleum products. Edison, of course, invented the light bulb, and he realized, light bulbs, people are only going to use them at night. So his company set about inventing a vast array of electrical devices that you could use at other times of the day. And so between them, Edison, Rockefeller and Ford, they conspired, literally, I mean that most sincerely, to design a world where people would own a car, live in a house that required lots of energy and didn't produce any itself, and they would go to jobs which didn't supply them with anything they needed at all. And so here we have the modern world. People who are entirely supported by faceless corporations. This is worse than Stalinist Russia. There's no freedom in this world. You might think you're free, but in fact, like me, you are almost certainly trapped in this economy with very little choice but to take part in the destruction of the planet's resources and the reprocessing of our atmosphere. Now, I know many of you, maybe not many, a significant number of you either don't believe that humans are affecting the climate, or you don't think it matters significantly that you need to do anything about it. So from what we've just seen, I'd just like to point out that everything we have just seen, the food being flown in from around the world, the houses that just consume energy and produce waste, the cars to take you to your job which just consumes energy and produces waste, the job that does nothing to support you, the house that does nothing to support you, the house that doesn't grow your food, make your energy, keep you warm. That's not freedom. You're not free. You may be free to pick one or the other. Oh, buy that one instead of this one. But let's face it, you'll be doing this. And in the process, you will be taking part in a vast, global reprocessing of the atmosphere. People have come to call it climate change, but that's really just the end result. The process is actually reprocessing of the atmosphere. Let me just explain a few things. This car that's just going past on this road contains an internal combustion engine which sucks in our atmosphere, your air, and it blows out not atmosphere, not air. It blows out a selection of gases which are no longer useful to life on Earth. Most of them are forms of oxide. Carbon dioxide is only one of 8 oxides that end up coming out of these reprocessing machines. And these reprocessing houses, here's more of them. These are less spectacular than the £250,000 planet fucking mansions up there, but they are equally bereft of chimneys, solar panels, windmills, and gardens big enough to do anything but dry your washing and have a barbecue. And that's just the way the companies that designed this economy like it. So, not only does your house suck in the atmosphere and reprocess it through gas central heating or the burning of coal, but the cars do too. And they've been doing this for a long time now, and they have been doing it on a vast scale. There are billions of these atmosphere reprocessing machines on Earth. Forget climate change. Forget what you might think about climate change. Imagine I told you I'm going to put you in a room and then I'm going to switch on an internal combustion engine. Well, you wouldn't be too happy about that, would you? Why not? Well, because we all know what happens when people do that. That's how people kill themselves in sad suicides. And that's what we're doing. We are slowly killing ourselves in a sad suicide, and we all know it. We all know it. There's no denying it. Here they are all around us. The cars, the houses, the atmosphere reprocessing equipment. So as I was saying about oxides, each one puts out carbon monoxide. You can't breathe that. Carbon dioxide, you can't breathe that. Sulfur oxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide, nitrogen dioxide, and so on and so on. All of which is very bad for you. Not good for you at all. And you'll hear an awful lot of climate change deniers saying that carbon dioxide is good for plants and it's not poisonous at all. All those other ones are. Carbon dioxide may not be poisonous. Neither is, let's say, water. Water's not poisonous. But if I put your head in a bucket of water, you wouldn't live very long. And likewise, if I put a mask over you and fed you only carbon dioxide, you'd be dead pretty quick. So here we are, the modern world. A vast industrial process of reprocessing our atmosphere into something that's poisonous to us in order to make a few very, very rich people slightly richer. That's all, folks. There isn't actually something else going on. There isn't a really big cause. Like say we were facing the imminent arrival of predatory aliens with vastly superior technology, and we were persuaded by our government that we need to really, really ramp up industrialization and the reprocessing of our atmosphere for some ultimate good aim. There isn't one of them. God doesn't want us to do it. Not that God exists. We don't face an imminent threat by aliens. All of this, what these houses were built for, was to facilitate making rich people richer. And the people who got caught up in it, the workers and the consumers, it's a Faustian bargain. Sure, before that, they were peasants living off the land in a very dreary, dull and unexciting world, lacking in iPhone 7s and PlayStation 4s. But it was a world that could have gone on. And the thing I'd like to point out about this world is it can't go on. Really, this can't go on. It can't go on for us or the more people who are arriving every day. So, pretty stupid, isn't it? You know, when you think about it, to be doing something that you know can't go on, that we absolutely know is bad for us, is damaging and destructive to the environment, and is reprocessing our atmosphere, taking air literally out of your lungs. Every single car, every central heating system is taking air out of your lungs. In fact, our atmosphere, according to the latest calculations, has been through an internal combustion engine at least 3 times. The entire atmosphere has been reprocessed 3 times. Because it's only a percentage of the oxygen in each cycle which is destroyed, there is of course still enough air, just enough air for us to live, but not for much longer. And while everybody in the climate debate usually bangs on about CO2, and people talk about 40 gigatons of carbon dioxide went into the atmosphere, and people think, well, how much is that anyway? I don't know. Does it really matter? Think about this. That CO2 used to be O2, which means it's 40 gigatons, 40 billion tons less oxygen for you. And that's just today. The amount of oxygen being removed from the atmosphere is increasing year after year after year. The Paris Climate Deal isn't planning to reduce the amount of oxygen being removed from the atmosphere for another 20 years. Now, I don't want to scare you, but not being able to breathe is pretty bad news. Okay, at the moment, according to official measurements, and strangely there are not many places officially measuring oxygen levels on Earth, there's 20.7% of our atmosphere is oxygen. Wow. You probably, maybe some of you heard in your school physics, science, chemistry lessons that that's about right. 20% is about right. Well, it used to be more. If you look up historical measurements of atmospheric oxygen, when we first discovered the existence of oxygen, thanks to Lavoisier and other chemists in 1750 and hundreds of years ago, oxygen content in the earth was 23%. And it's been going down ever since, and it's now going down even quicker. So, while you may debate, and many people do, many people will debate, CO2, it's not dangerous, it'll be good for plant life, blah, blah, blah. Surely we can all agree that no oxygen is a bad thing. No oxygen is a bad thing for me, for you, for the trees and the grass. No oxygen is a bad thing for the planet, isn't it? Isn't it a bad thing for the planet? So, you might agree with me that it is a bad thing for the planet, but you might disagree with the figures. To which all I can say is, why don't you Google it? You don't have to believe me. Why don't you go and have a look for yourself? Find out how many people are measuring atmospheric oxygen. Find out what happens inside an internal combustion engine when you run our atmosphere through it. Go on, find out for yourself. Find out how much of our air is being turned into unbreathable oxides every single day by machines that we don't really need, that were designed to help make a few rich people richer. And ask yourself, is that such a good idea? What can we do about it? You might say, what are you doing about it, Deek? Well, I would say I'm trying to do as little as possible. And, I don't know, obviously, about your circumstances, but I'm one of the poorest people I know. In this country, well, I live in Scotland, my annual income is less money than you would get on unemployment benefit. I'm not on benefits, as it happens. I'm self-employed. But the amount of money I earn and spend, and therefore the amount of shit I contribute to the great big pile of shit on Earth, is very, very small. And I would urge you to do the same. In short, I would urge you to get poor and love it. Get poor, get into being poor. Don't buy anything new. If you can, avoid flying anywhere. If you can, avoid buying shit. you don't need from far, far away. Don't buy a new car. Don't buy a car if you can get by without a car. They can't make you buy things. They can't make you take part. So, if you can, don't. Thanks for watching. Cheers.